Have you ever felt exhausted after working hard for so long, patiently waiting for results, and now you're starting to see the fruits of your labor? Perhaps you've been pouring your heart and soul into something, whether it's a personal goal, a career aspiration, or a journey of faith. The road was long, and at times it felt like the results would never come, but now you begin to see the fruits of all your hard work and perseverance. The time has arrived for you to witness the harvest of your efforts. In life and in faith, there are seasons when we sow seeds of hard work, patience, and trust. We dedicate ourselves to a cause, we stay committed despite the challenges, and we hold on to hope even when we can't see the results right away. During this time, it often feels like we are working and waiting with no immediate signs of reward. But there comes a moment, a season, when we realize that our harvest season has arrived. The moment when all the seeds we've planted, nurtured, and believed in begin to bear fruit. It's a time of receiving the results of our hard work and faith. Harvest season is a pivotal moment in life. It's the time when the perseverance and dedication we've put into our goals finally yield visible results. This is the time to witness the fruits of what we've built, what we've persevered through, and what we've worked toward. It's a season of joy, fulfillment, and reflection. The harvest season is a reward for all the times you didn't give up, the moments when you trusted that your efforts would eventually pay off. Today we'll explore the deeper meaning of harvest season in both life and faith. Harvest is not just a time to receive the results, it's also a chance to see God's faithfulness in every step of the journey. When we reach the harvest season, we don't just see the fruits of our labor, we see how God has been with us, guiding us through the highs and lows, strengthening our resolve, and providing the growth and success we could never have achieved on our own. It's a season to acknowledge that God has been faithful through every moment, whether we were experiencing victories or facing struggles. As you reflect on the harvest season in your own life, I invite you to think about the journey you've been on. How did you get here? What seeds did you sow that are now beginning to grow? Take a moment to appreciate not only the results, but also the lessons, the growth and the faith you've developed along the way. I invite you to share your stories in the comments below. How have you recognized God's hand in your harvest season? Maybe you've noticed His faithfulness in the moments you least expected it. Your story could be the encouragement someone else needs to press on. If this message spoke to you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspirational messages like this. Let's celebrate the harvest together, acknowledging that every step of the journey is a testimony to God's goodness. Before the harvest comes, we've had to go through a season of sowing seeds, long days of effort, prayer, and hard work without immediately seeing results. There are moments in life when we feel like we are giving our best, yet the fruits of our labor are nowhere to be seen. It can be tough when we can't immediately see the reward for our actions. Whether it's a project at work, a personal goal, or even a journey of faith, there are times when we put in effort and feel like we are getting no response. The struggle is real. Yet it's in these times that we learn some of the most valuable lessons of life: perseverance, patience, and trust. When we sow seeds, whether literal or metaphorical, we don't expect to see immediate results. A farmer doesn't plant a seed and then expect to see a full-grown crop the next day. Similarly, in our own lives, the work we put into something doesn't always show up right away. Sometimes it takes time for the seed to grow, for the work to bear fruit, and for the results to come. The challenge is that during this waiting period, we often don't have the clarity we want. We can't always see the immediate progress, and at times we might question if our efforts will even be worth it. But this is the exact moment when the power of perseverance begins to make a difference. In these times of waiting, we learn the true value of perseverance. Perseverance is the ability to continue moving forward despite not seeing immediate progress or tangible results. It's the inner strength that keeps us going even when the road ahead feels long or uncertain. It's about believing that the work we're doing now is laying the groundwork for something greater to come. And trust in the process and God's timing, and in the belief that what we're doing matters is just as important as perseverance. We keep planting, we keep watering, and we trust that God is working behind the scenes to make sure the harvest will come. A great example of perseverance can be seen in the life of a farmer. Imagine a farmer who plants seeds in the spring. For months they tend to the soil, water the seeds, and protect the crops from the elements. Day after day they put in the work, but the fruits of their labour are not immediately visible. The seeds are beneath the soil, growing in silence. There are times when the farmer might feel discouraged, especially during dry seasons or when the weather doesn't cooperate. But the farmer doesn't give up. They know that after the long months of hard work, the harvest will come. They trust that in due time they will see the results of their labour. This is the same for us. Life often requires us to sow seeds of effort, faith, and trust. We go through seasons where the work seems endless and the results seem distant. But just as the farmer continues tending to the crops despite not yet seeing them grow, we too must continue in our journey even when we don't see immediate results. Perseverance is not about avoiding difficulties, but about trusting that the fruits of our labour will come in due time. It's about believing in the process, continuing to sow with the faith that the harvest will arrive. Even when challenges arise, just like the farmer facing a dry spell or unexpected storms, we must remember that difficulties are part of the process. They don't mean failure. They're opportunities for growth. They test our resilience and strengthen our faith. The farmer understands that some of the hardest times, the seasons of drought, the storms, the cold, are all part of the cycle that leads to a bountiful harvest. In the same way, we must learn to trust God during our seasons of struggle, knowing that they are preparing us for something greater ahead. In Galatians 6:9, we are reminded, "Let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." This verse is a powerful reminder of the importance of perseverance. The harvest doesn't come immediately, but if we persist, if we keep doing good and remain faithful in the work we are called to, the results will come. The key here is patience. The Bible does not promise that the harvest will come immediately, it says in due season, which means that it comes in God's perfect timing. Our job is to stay faithful, continue sowing, and trust that the harvest will arrive at the right time. There may be seasons in life when it feels like we're doing all the right things but seeing no results. It's easy to get discouraged when we can't see the fruit of our labour. But this verse encourages us to keep going, to not grow weary because the harvest is on its way. Just like a farmer waits for the crops to grow, we must wait with patience, knowing that our hard work will eventually pay off. Galatians 6:9 reminds us that the harvest is worth the wait, and we will reap the rewards if we don't give up. In our faith walk, God often allows us to go through these seasons of waiting and perseverance to test our trust in Him. Will we continue to believe that He is working even when we can't see it? Will we remain faithful even when the harvest is not yet in sight? This is the test of perseverance and the reward. The harvest comes when we don't grow weary and remain faithful in the process. The harvest season is the result of perseverance and trust in God. It comes after a long and challenging journey, but it is the moment when we witness the power of persistence. We can't see the harvest right away, but we can trust that as long as we continue to sow with patience and faith, it will come. The harvest doesn't come without effort, and it doesn't come without challenges. But in the end, the fruits of our labour are worth it. Just like the farmer who continues to water, tend, and protect the crops even when they don't see immediate growth, we must continue to do good and trust in God's timing. The harvest is a tangible reminder of God's faithfulness, showing us that the seeds we plant today, whether they are efforts in our personal lives or our faith journey, will bear fruit in His perfect timing. The harvest season is not just about the results. It's about seeing how our faith, perseverance, and trust have brought us to this moment. So remember, harvest season is not a moment to sit back and relax. It's a time to celebrate the rewards of persistence and trust. It's when you see that all the work, the waiting, the trials, and the prayers have borne fruit, but the true power of the harvest lies in what we've learnt in the process. The perseverance, the trust in God's timing, and the strength to keep going even when it's hard. Keep planting, keep trusting, and the harvest will come. Galatians 6:9 promises that in due season we will reap if we do not give up. When we enter the harvest season, it's not just about the fruit of our labour. It's also a time to see the unmistakable evidence of God's faithfulness. While the harvest represents the results of our hard work, patience, and perseverance, it also highlights something far greater: God's guidance and provision throughout every step of the journey. His faithfulness is woven into the very fabric of our lives, and as we witness the harvest, we're able to look back and realize how He has always been with us, leading us, sustaining us, and making our efforts worthwhile. The harvest season is a moment to celebrate and acknowledge that God's faithfulness has been present even when we couldn't see it. Often it's easy to overlook God's faithfulness when things are tough. We might be so focused on the struggle, the waiting, and the uncertainty that we fail to see the many ways He has been providing for us, guiding us and shaping us for something greater. But when the harvest comes, when we finally see the fruit of all that hard work, perseverance, and prayer, it becomes clear that God was with us all along. The harvest doesn't just represent our efforts, it's a testimony to God's unwavering faithfulness to His promises. God's faithfulness is a theme that runs throughout the Bible and continues to be a central part of our lives today. His faithfulness is not conditional. He remains faithful even when we falter. He is steadfast, unchanging, and always true to His word. In our lives, God has been with us every step of the way, even in the darkest times when we couldn't feel His presence. The harvest is a beautiful moment to reflect on how God has provided for us, guided us, and sustained us through seasons of struggle and uncertainty. Sometimes when we're in the midst of hardship, it is hard to recognize God's faithfulness. But when we look back, we often see that He was there all along. He's been shaping us, preparing us for the future, and positioning us for the blessings that are to come. Our harvest is a clear manifestation of His faithfulness, a moment when we can pause and reflect on how far we've come, how much we've grown, and how much we've been blessed. Just like the farmer who tends to his crops all season long, knowing that harvest time will come, God tends to our lives. He nurtures us through the difficult seasons, teaching us, refining us, and preparing us for the harvest. The harvest is not just about receiving rewards, it's about recognizing that God's hand has been in everything, guiding us through the highs and lows. And in His perfect timing, the harvest will come, revealing His faithfulness and provision. A powerful example of God's faithfulness can be found in the story of Joseph. Joseph's life was filled with unimaginable hardship. As a young man, he was sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused of a crime he didn't commit, and thrown into prison. For years, Joseph endured suffering and injustice, and at many points it must have seemed like his life was going nowhere. Yet through all of these trials, Joseph remained faithful to God. He continued to trust in God's plan for his life, even when there was no visible reason to hope. It's easy to look at Joseph's story and feel a sense of hopelessness for him. How could someone endure so much betrayal, hardship, and injustice without giving up? But what we see in Joseph's story is that God was working in him and through him, even when Joseph couldn't see it. God was shaping Joseph's character, preparing him for a role that would save not only his family, but also an entire nation. Joseph's perseverance and faithfulness were tested in the fire of hardship, and in the end he emerged stronger, wiser, and ready for the purpose God had for him. Joseph's harvest season came when he was finally appointed as the second in command of Egypt. He was given the responsibility to manage the nation's resources during a time of famine, and it was through this position that he was able to reunite with his family and save them from starvation. What seemed like a series of setbacks and injustices was actually God's divine plan unfolding. The harvest for Joseph wasn't just about personal success, it was about fulfilling God's greater purpose for his life and for the nation of Israel. God's faithfulness in Joseph's life was evident in the way that each hardship prepared him for the role he was destined to fulfill. Even though Joseph couldn't see it at the time, each step of his journey was part of God's divine plan. The harvest came after many years of suffering, but in the end, Joseph was able to look back and see how God had been with him all along, guiding him through the darkest times and preparing him for a great purpose. Just like Joseph, we go through hardships in life. We experience moments of betrayal, loss, pain, and disappointment. But through those trials, God is shaping us. He's not distant or uninvolved in our suffering. Instead, he is right there walking with us through every difficulty. We may not understand why things are happening, and it may seem like God is silent during those seasons of hardship. But the truth is that he is always working behind the scenes. Our struggles are not in vain. They are part of a process that prepares us for a greater purpose. Through every challenge we face, God is refining us, teaching us, and preparing us for the harvest that will come. We may not be able to see the results right away, and sometimes we may wonder if the harvest will ever come at all. But just like the farmer waits for the right season to reap his crops, we too must trust that in God's perfect timing our harvest season will arrive. And when it does, we will look back and see how God was with us every step of the way, providing us with the strength, the wisdom, and the faith we needed to persevere. God's faithfulness is not just evident in the good times. It is especially clear in the difficult times when we can look back and see how he carried us through. Our harvest season is the result of his faithfulness to us. It's a moment when we realize that everything we've been through, the trials, the waiting, the growing, was part of God's plan to position us for something greater. The harvest season is a manifestation of God's faithfulness, a moment to recognize that he has always had a plan for our lives, even during the most difficult times. Just like Joseph, we are often tested through life's hardships, and the harvest season is the culmination of those trials. It's the moment when we see God's hand at work in our lives, guiding us through the storms and positioning us for something greater than we could have imagined. When we enter the harvest season, it's not just about reaping the rewards of our efforts. It's about seeing the greater purpose that God has been working in us all along. The harvest is a reflection of God's faithfulness to us, and it's a reminder that he has been with us every step of the way, even when we couldn't see it. As you step into your own harvest season, take a moment to reflect on the journey that has brought you here. Look back and recognize how God's faithfulness has sustained you through every trial, every hardship, and every challenge. Trust that your harvest season is a clear manifestation of his provision, and know that his faithfulness is always at work in your life, even in the most difficult times. The harvest is not just about the fruit of your labor. It's about seeing God's hand at work in your life, bring forth the blessings he has promised. When the harvest comes, we should not only rejoice in receiving it, but also give thanks to God and share what we've received with those around us. The harvest is not just for personal enjoyment, it's for serving and loving others. Too often when we experience a breakthrough or a season of success, we are tempted to focus solely on ourselves, on enjoying the fruits of our labor and celebrating our own accomplishments. But in reality, the harvest is not just about what we can gain personally. It's about recognizing the bigger picture that God has for us and using the blessings we've received to bless others. In the Bible, God reminds us that everything we have is a gift from him. Our talents, our resources, our strength, none of it is truly ours. It's all a gift from God entrusted to us to use for his purposes. When we receive the harvest, we are not only celebrating the results of our hard work and patience, but also acknowledging that God has been faithful and generous in providing for us. As we enjoy the fruits of our labor, we are called to be good stewards of those blessings, using them to serve others and advance his kingdom. The harvest season is a time of joy, but it's also a time of gratitude and responsibility. Just like the farmer who reaps the crops and then shares the bounty with others, we too must be willing to share the blessings we've received. When we experience success, whether it's a promotion at work, a financial breakthrough, or a personal achievement, it's easy to think that the harvest is for us alone. But that's not the case. God calls us to share what we've received with those around us. The harvest is meant to be a tool for building up others, for helping those in need, and for spreading love and hope to a world that desperately needs it. So when your harvest season comes, take time to thank God for his provision and for bringing you through the seasons of waiting and perseverance. Then look for ways to bless others with what you've received. Whether it's through your time, your resources, or your talents, God calls us to serve others with the harvest He has entrusted to us. For example, maybe you've worked hard to build a successful business or achieve a personal goal. Now that you've reached your harvest, what would it look like to use your success to help others? Perhaps you could mentor someone else who's on a similar journey, or donate a portion of your success to help those in need. This is the true essence of receiving the harvest, understanding that it's not just about your personal joy, but also about extending that joy to others. As you receive your harvest, it's important to reflect on the journey that brought you here. Look back at what you've learned through the waiting process. The harvest is not just about enjoying the fruits, it's about recognizing the lessons and growth you've experienced along the way. For example, there were moments during your journey when you had to trust God even when you couldn't see the outcome. You had to learn patience, resilience, and perseverance. Those lessons are just as valuable as the harvest itself. When I reflect on my own experiences of receiving a harvest, I'm reminded that the rewards don't just come from the results themselves. They come from the transformation that happens inside of us as we wait and work toward that harvest. It's the moments of struggle, the times when I felt like giving up, and the lessons I learned along the way that truly shaped the harvest season into something meaningful. I remember a time in my life when I was working hard to achieve a personal goal. The journey felt long and there were moments of doubt and frustration. But as I persevered, I began to see small victories along the way. Eventually the moment of harvest came, and I could see the results of my efforts. But looking back, I realized that the most valuable part of the harvest wasn't just the success. It was the growth that took place during the process. The patience I learned, the faith I strengthened, and the character I built were all part of the harvest that God had prepared for me. So as you step into your own harvest season, take a moment to reflect on the lessons you've learned and the growth you've experienced. The harvest is a celebration of your hard work, but it's also a celebration of the person you've become in the process. It's important to embrace the journey, to acknowledge that every step along the way has been shaping you for this very moment. In Matthew 9:37-38, we are reminded that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. This verse speaks to the great potential and opportunity that exists in the harvest season. There are many people in need, many opportunities to make a difference, and many ways that we can use the harvest to serve others. But the laborers, those who are willing to work, share, and serve, are few. As we receive our harvest, we must remember that there is work to be done. The harvest is not just for our enjoyment, it's an opportunity to step into the calling God has placed on our lives to make a difference in the world. We are called to be laborers in God's kingdom, to use what we've received to help others, and to share the love and blessings of God. As you step into your harvest season, consider how you can be a laborer for God's kingdom. How can you use your harvest to bless others, to spread His love, and to help those in need? Matthew 9:37-38 encourages us to prepare ourselves for the harvest, but it also reminds us that the work doesn't stop once we receive our blessings. The harvest is plentiful, but it requires laborers, those who are willing to give back, to serve, and to share what they've received with others. The harvest season is not just for you to enjoy the rewards, but an opportunity to serve, help, and spread the love of God to others, so they too can experience the blessings. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the harvest, especially when it comes after a long season of waiting and effort. But the true power of the harvest lies in how we use it. The blessings we receive are not just for us, they are meant to flow through us to others. Just as God has blessed us with the harvest, we are called to bless others with what we've received. The harvest is an opportunity to serve, to give back, and to make a difference in the lives of those around us. Whether it's through our time, our resources, or our talents, we are called to share the harvest with others. We are called to be a light in the world, using the blessings we've received to impact those around us and to help them experience the love and grace of God. When you receive your harvest, remember that it's not just about enjoying the fruits of your labor, it's about using those blessings to serve God's kingdom. The harvest is plentiful, and there are many opportunities to make a difference. As we step into our harvest season, let us be faithful laborers willing to share the blessings we've received and to spread God's love to those who need it most. The harvest season is a time to celebrate, but it's also a time to give back to serve others and to recognize that our blessings are not just for our own enjoyment, they are meant to be shared. As you receive the fruits of your labor, take time to reflect on how you can use your harvest to bless those around you. Be a laborer in God's kingdom, using your harvest to make a difference in the world and to help others experience the blessings of God. Your harvest season is not the end, but the beginning of a new phase in your life journey. What you've gone through, the struggles, the waiting, the perseverances, now brought forth fruit. You're beginning to see the results of your labor, the fulfillment of the promises you've been holding on to, and the fruits of the seed you've sown with patience and faith. That as you step into this new season, take a moment to recognize how much you've grown, how far you've come, and how God's faithfulness has been evident in every area of your life. The harvest season is a time to celebrate, but it's also a time for reflection. It's a moment to pause and see how God has been with you throughout the entire process, guiding you, strengthening you, and providing for you. Even during the difficult times when it felt like nothing was happening, God was at work behind the scenes preparing you for this moment. Now that the harvest is here, it's important to remember that this season is not just about personal enjoyment. It's about sharing what you've received and blessing others. As you embrace your harvest, do so with a thankful heart, knowing that it's not just for your benefit, but for a greater purpose. God has given you this season to serve and bless those around you. The harvest season isn't just for personal gain, it's a time to give back and to share the blessings you've received with others. This is the time to extend the love, grace, and generosity that God has shown you so others can experience the goodness of God through your actions. I encourage you to get ready to embrace your harvest with gratitude and humility. Look for opportunities to serve, to give, and to share. The harvest you've worked for can be a blessing to others just as it has been a blessing to you. Let your harvest be a testimony of God's faithfulness and a tool to make a positive impact in the lives of those around you. I invite you to share your stories in the comments below. How have you recognized God's hand in your harvest season? What blessings have you experienced, and how have you seen God's faithfulness at work in your life? Your story could encourage someone else who is walking through a similar journey. If this message spoke to you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspirational messages like this. Let's celebrate together, knowing that the harvest season is just the beginning of something greater that God is doing in your life. Lord, thank you for the harvest season you've prepared for me. Help me recognize your faithfulness in every step of this journey, and give me the strength to share what I've received with others. May I always be grateful for your provision and guidance. As I step into this new season, let me serve with a joyful heart and use me to bless those around me. In Jesus' name, amen.